Hello, my name is Denise. I'm the bread advocate, and this is part 2 for New York Style Bagels. So just for a recap on our ingredients, I have flour and salt, which I've mixed together here in my bowl. I have sugar, warm water, and yeast. So here is a close-up of my yeast mixture. So I have my warm water, to which I will add my 2 teaspoons of dry yeast, and I will now add the sugar, and the sugar helps the yeast to activate. So I will let this sit now for 5 minutes for the yeast to become nice and bubbly. It has been 5 minutes and my yeast has started to activate. Not all of the yeast incorporated during the activation, but you can see that it is nice and bubbly. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this together just to get the sugar more dissolved. And I am going to go ahead and pour it into the middle of the well in my flour. Here we have the dough after it has been bench resting for about 15 minutes. On the left side is the all-purpose flour, and on the right is the bread flour. Now the bread flour had just a tiny bit more water added to it by accident, but I did add some flour to compensate, and they have both risen and are ready for shaping. Here are the bread flour bagels shaped and on the pan with cornmeal. The dough did come out a bit stickier than I liked with the extra water that had been added, but if you find that your dough is sticking to your hands quite a bit, you can add some flour to your hands to make it easier to handle. Bagels have been resting now and are all ready for boiling. So I'll go ahead and take my first bagel and bring it over to the water face down. You'll just let it sit in there for about 30 seconds. 30 to 45 seconds. And go ahead and flip it over. And it'll boil for another 30 to 45 seconds. And then I will transfer it over to the pan. Again, using my slotted spatula so that the water is able to drain out. I will scoop up the bagel, allow it to drain a bit, and transfer back to the pan. All the bagels have been boiled and egg washed and topped. Egg wash is 1 beaten egg with water and a pinch of salt. These are the bread flour bagels that I accidentally added a little too much water to. They did lose their shape a little bit during the boiling process, but hopefully they'll regain some of it during baking. And these all are the all-purpose flour bagels, and they have held their shape. So these are all going to go into the oven at 425 degrees for 20 minutes. I have an electric stove, so about 10 minutes into baking, I'm going to switch the pan position in the stove to ensure more even baking. The bagels have just come out of the oven. Here are the all-purpose flour bagels and the bread flour bagels. Since I did add that extra water, they didn't quite come out as well shaped and firm as the others. Now I'll let them cool and I'll show you what the inside looks like when I cut them. That bread, I like to use a serrated knife. That helps to make sure that you get a good clean cut. Remember from the first part of the New York Style Bagel experiment, with this particular recipe, the 1 hour proving time will end up giving you a thicker bagel, and the 15-minute proving time will give you a thinner bagel. Depending on your preference for bagels, if you want to have a higher rise on your bagel, you'll want to prove it for a longer period of time, and if you like them to be a bit thinner, go ahead and just do the bench proving. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and also please visit me at thebreadadvocate.com where I have other recipes.